Well, my name is Jeff Berta. I'm the CEO of Gold Seal, and my general job is to try to not screw it up every day. But in seriousness, mostly what I do is work with a group of really awesome people. And our mission is pretty straightforward. We want to get our product into as many places in the country as we can, and we want to impact the industry of smoking as much as possible and find a healthier way to do it. Pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
That really started out with, I was a smoker for about 10 years, and my wife was a smoker for a long time as well. And when you're 20, you don't really feel it. You can smoke cigarettes and it's no big deal. You don't get the effects of it too much. But after many years of smoking, I really started to feel it. And I quit smoking for about 6-7 months, and I started to go to the gym a lot, and I took a particular interest in running. I love to run. And I was running 5, sometimes 10 kilometers in a day, 4 or 5 times a week. And I got my breath back, I was feeling great, everything was fine, and then I kind of started to slip from my gym routine and I started to smoke again. And it blew my mind how very, very quickly my endurance disappeared. I mean, I remember after about a month of not running and working out and smoking like I had used to, and I'd be lucky to get a block, run a block before I was winded. So that really changed my mind on it. But to be perfectly honest and transparent about it, I like smoking. I really do. I don't ask me why, I just do. And so I started thinking, is there a better way to do it? Is there a different way to do it? And I stumbled upon an e-cigarette. And when I used it, I was quite surprised. You know, it gave me the same satisfaction and craving or looking after the cravings I had without having to smoke a cigarette. And to my disbelief, it was like cheap, really cheap. So when I finally quit smoking with my wife, I realized that this is something that a lot of people could use. And that's really where my drive came from, a really big interest in wanting to see other people at least see the technology and try it. And if it worked for them, fantastic. And that's where it went. We put it in our business as a small little industry, and it exploded.
Yeah, it really
so that's where my personal motivation started. That's a really great question. The very first thing that gives me a lot of confidence is the people that work on this project. I don't think any product can truly be great if the people that are working on it aren't really behind it and care. And after this much time and working with all these people for this long, the amount of sleepless nights, the extra hours, the skipping holidays, birthdays, working late, yada yada yada. I mean, the list goes on from a whole variety of people that were completely dedicated to getting a project done and doing it right. And the numerous times that I've run into obstacles where we simply refused to release things or do things until we knew that they met the original criteria that we laid out. And we lay out really, really tough goals, and we don't always hit them, but we do our best. And because of that, that gives me a huge cornerstone of confidence in our product. Beyond that, we've sold a lot. So that tells me that people really do appreciate what we've done, because people speak with their money as much as they do speak with their actions.
Yeah.
So that's a really good, solid foundation for why I believe that.
That's true.
That's also a really great question. It's based in a lot of fact, but some opinion as well. But our original objective was to help people find a healthier alternative. So we developed a range of products that were originally a 70% propylene glycol, 30% vegetable glycerin base. And that was really what the technology that existed in hardware at the time was best for. That's what worked. And even to this day, a lot of people that just start vaping for the first time, and especially people that smoke strong cigarettes, want a heavy throat hit. And so that sort of is where we started. However, the industry is not the same as it was 2 or 3 years ago. Hardware has improved. We now have devices that, a device above 10 watts, 20 watts 2 years ago was, what's that?
Mm-hmm.
Nobody even knew what that was. Now we have devices that are 100 watts, 150, 200, and some of them are unlimited. They're mech mods based on whatever someone has decided to build.
Yeah.
And I think what's happened now is the industry is not necessarily fragmented, but it's certainly dispersed into different directions. You have your community of people that want to quit smoking, and that's it. They just want a simple device that curves their cravings and they're happy.
Mm-hmm.
And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm like that too. I don't necessarily try to make a crazy device. Even to this day, I use a very simple Aspire sub-ohm battery, a couple different kinds of tanks I've tried. I like to put my liquid in the morning and off I go. And I've got a second device here just in case I want to try a second flavor for the day. But that's generally the way I work. But what changed is people started to get into the cool side of the industry. We started to develop all these different types of mods and different devices, and with those comes a need for a new type of liquid to fill that. And that's really why we're going in the direction now of the 50-50. We're starting to kind of convert our 70-30 line over. We're not removing the 70-30 products, but there have been instances where we've released a product in 50-50 and the 70-30 sales crash. They almost disappear, and the 50-50 end up higher than before. So we know that product does better in that particular formula. Now moving even further, now we've decided to partner with people like Alex, who's helped develop the first volley of flavors in the signature line and so forth. And that is, again, another group of people that want a different experience in their vaping. That they're not necessarily just vaping that product to quit to not smoke a cigarette. They're doing it for a whole variety of different reasons. They want an incredible taste with tons of layers. They want to blow clouds that are huge and so forth. And they really want to enjoy the vape like a connoisseur. And I got to be careful here now because I don't want to pigeonhole anything, but that's my general opinion of it.
Okay.
I actually wrote an article that I posted. It still needs a little bit of edits because I wrote it on the fly, but I found it to be an incredibly easy article to write. And the reason why is, in this particular spot, I have to kind of take a position. I have to take a stand and decide really what I believe. And if I'm true to our tenets of the business of assisting people and being aware of our product and finding those better alternatives, then what better place to go than tobacconists, convenience stores, and so forth? Because these are the cornerstones that Canada and the US and many countries around the world have got their tobacco in the past. I mean, honestly, where else would you buy a pack of cigarettes, regularly in a city? You'd get it at a convenience store, maybe a gas station. Some people like to go to tobacconist shops because they also sell cigars and cigarillos and flavored things and so forth. And if you remove those things from the pie, what's left? Where do you really go to buy tobacco at that point? There are other places, but that's a huge chunk of it.
Mm-hmm.
So to ignore those markets seems to me rather foolish if the goal is to help people, right?
Yeah.
That's my take on it. What I did mention in the article was, I think that the classic strategy where cigarettes just get put on a wall, whether they're behind something or they're hidden or they're on display, depending on what country you're in, and someone just says, hey, I'd like a pack of, fill in your brand and style, and the clerk gets it, puts it onto the counter, you pay your $10 or whatever it costs, and off you go. That style doesn't apply to vaping. And unfortunately, I think that's really the hesitation. I think that's the concern. And I tend to agree. I think that in general, not, I don't want to blanket everyone, but in general, I think that C-stores and tobacconist shops and so forth, because of that strategy over all those years, are not as keen to learn all the fundamentals of an e-cigarette quite yet. But that's changing. That's absolutely changing, because I'm seeing a lot of tobacconist shops now calling us. They're sending questions. They're offering their employees for training. They're watching videos, and they're getting to be very well informed, which is great.
Yeah.
And I think the C-stores as well are starting to realize that, hey, the tobacco industry is changing. Their sales in cigarettes are slowly being sublimated now with e-cigarette products. And I think they're starting to realize that their businesses will improve the better service, with the better the service they give to their customers.
Yeah.
And ultimately, you as a customer speak with your dollars. You speak with your actions. If you go to a store and get terrible service, doesn't matter what product it is, you're not going to go back unless you want to encourage that kind of behavior. And at the end of the day, I think any establishment with the right heart and the right willingness from the staff and the owner of the business or whatever that wants to service their customers will do that. So that's the way I feel. I think supporting C-stores and tobacconist shops and those types of businesses is absolutely an important thing. I think it's a great way to impact the industry. And I think with a little bit of care and support from the core group of people in the vaping community with training and so forth, we'll rocket ride this. It'll make it faster. So that's my take on that.